Hi friends, it's Megan, Georgia Girl Stitching here on YouTube and on Instagram, and I am back for FlossTube number 16. It is Friday, July 9th, and I have had quite a few life updates since the last video. But before we get to that, I do want to say thank you to all of you who are returning, coming back to see another round, and to you who are new. Thanks for joining, and hopefully you see something that you like. So since the last video, which was mid-late May, I finished my first year of medical school. So that was the first big thing. I finished block 4 and absolutely loved it. I really fell in love with cardio and the physics for, physics for heart makes sense. So I really enjoyed that block and all that information. We did go into pulmonary a little bit too, and because lungs and heart are very connected, and enjoyed that as well. So really, it was a good block to have as the last one. But on that same day as my last day, I finished my final on my 25th birthday. So I have entered the next quarter century and did not have a quarter century crisis. Happy to say, at least not yet. We're only a month in, but we had a really good day. I took my last final, which went fine, and then hung by the pool with some friends, and then we all went out to dinner to kind of celebrate not just my birthday, but finishing the first year of medical school. So it was really nice. We just kind of hung out, and we weren't going to see each other for quite a while because we were all going to be traveling to different places. So it was kind of nice to have one last dinner and then get ready to reconvene for year 2. So we did that, and then the next day we actually had to head back to Atlanta. David took his second round of boards in Atlanta that Saturday. And then Sunday, my parents left for the Keys. So we had on Father's Day. So it's kind of funny. My dad left me on Father's Day. But we celebrated the night before. David and his mom were over at my parents' house, and we had like one last big family dinner pre-wedding. And then Sunday, my parents left to they were having a little bit of a mini vacation before the wedding down in the Keys. And then Monday we came back to Auburn, packed up, and then Wednesday we left for the Keys. So it was kind of a whirlwind of a week. Really the last 3 weeks have been a little bit of a whirlwind. But we left, headed down to Miami, and had spent the night with a couple of our friends who are in med school down in Miami. And then on Thursday, we actually headed to the resort and hung out, and my maid of honor came that day as well, and so we were with our family and her boyfriend that came down, and just kind of enjoyed the resort, checked out the brewery down there, and then Friday, had all the getting ready, rehearsal dinner, Saturday, and then Saturday was the big day. Saturday we got married on the 26th, and this is just a brief overview of just my last 3 weeks. I will be doing a much more in-depth video coming up, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. This is just kind of a brief overview. Saturday went absolutely perfect. It was a gorgeous day. The girls came over and got ready in our suite, which became the bridal suite, and we kicked David out to the groomsmen room, and they all got ready over there, and it was perfect. We had a great time getting ready together, and then the whole evening just went amazing. We did have, as you know, it's not hurricane season, we did have a storm come through, but it happened to come through at like the perfect time. The wind was picking up kind of during the ceremony, and we saw it out in the distance because we had the ocean behind us. That was our backdrop. So we were kind of watching the wall of rain get closer and closer throughout the ceremony. Well, they were, I wasn't. I was looking at David, but other people were. And then as during pictures, we saw it getting closer and closer. And then right when she finished pictures, the photographer, right when we were done with pictures, the first drop fell. And we ran inside, and like we were doing the bustling and getting lined up. We had a tent over where our reception was, so the reception was going to be fine. But we had a tent, and so we were all inside kind of getting geared up to start the reception. And right when it was time to start going out, the rain stopped. So it was really like a perfect timing of rain, because in the Keys it just kind of goes over the islands pretty quickly for those kinds of storms. It doesn't like sit over the island usually. And thankfully, like it was like a 5-minute storm that happened to come right when it was a good time. So very blessed. But yeah, so that was kind of one fun story, but the whole night was just magical. My parents and so much of our family just worked so hard to make it exactly how we imagined. And they did an amazing job. And then Sunday we had like a little, we call it afterglow brunch, to kind of, anyone who didn't have travel plans too early, we got to kind of say goodbye. And because everyone traveled, so no one lived in Islamorada. So we got to have a brunch at our reception site, and just kind of said goodbye and thank you and hopefully see you soon. And then we left from there and we traveled further south and stayed on Cudjoe Key for our honeymoon while everyone else had to go back north. And then we started the honeymoon. So, and I'll go into the honeymoon a little bit more depth in that other video, but we essentially just spent the week in the Keys, and we did fly fishing, we did a seaplanes tour over Key West. We spent a couple days in Key West. We had some really nice dinners, and we did a whole lot of nothing. We did the perfect mix of stuff, doing things and not doing things. It was really nice, because we had some recovering to do just from years 1 and 3 of medical school and the wedding and everything. So it was perfect. And then last Saturday we had our 15-hour trip back, which I got so much stitching done. I literally had 15 hours of stitching because I stitched the entire drive back. And that was, David refused to let me help him drive. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna sit here and stitch. So I got so much done, which I'll show. I have a lot of stitching to show you, which I'm very excited about. And then we, just kind of, we went back to Atlanta. We actually went straight to Atlanta because that's where our puppy was. Tank went and stayed with one of his grandmothers during our honeymoon. So he was at a boarding for when we left Auburn, and then so the Tuesday of our honeymoon, David's mom came down and got him. So he wasn't gonna be there for 2 weeks. So she came and got him from Auburn and then took him back home. And so we had to go get Tanky. And then we came back on like late July 4th, I think. We kind of traveled back. And then July 5th, July 5th, we originally were going to go turn in our marriage license. Not thinking, because David didn't have to start his next rotation until Tuesday. So we were like, we have to turn the marriage license in within 10 days. And we have to turn it into Crestview, which is about a 3-hour drive from here. So we're like, then we'll just go back on July 4th. And then July 5th, we'll head on down and have one last day. And, we'll maybe take the 45-minute drive down to Destin from there and like have this whole day. And we were literally at breakfast with my parents on July 4th. And mom's like, so what are you guys doing this week? And we told her like, so tomorrow we're going to head down and turn in the marriage license and everything. And my mom's like, are they open? Because July 4th is actually being recognized on July 5th. If the July 4th falls on a holiday or on a weekend, then the government observed holiday is like the next business day, which for this year would have been July 5th. So we're like, well, guess we're not going to Crestview on July 5th. So which worked out fine. We had to move back in. I mean, gosh, the amount of stuff that we acquired, just from our traveling and having to, do laundry, and we're using this as an opportunity to reorganize some things that have gotten a little astray over the last year. So yeah, we needed that day anyways. And then Tuesday I did the solo trip down to Crestview because David had to go to work, and got our marriage license. So we were officially married in the eyes of the law. So which is really exciting. Now I'm just working on the changing the name process. So legally I am still Megan Rogers, working on it. Social Security has still not opened up from COVID, so everything is mail-in, which is so much fun. I can't do anything until I change my name with them, so we're just kind of in a waiting pattern right now. But anyways, that's a lot. So yeah, we've just been kind of moving back in and getting ready. I thankfully don't start school until next Wednesday. So because Monday and Tuesday are orientation for the new first year. So me as a second year doesn't have to do that. So I start school on Wednesday, and yeah, just kind of get life back in order. Lots of organizing, lots of writing thank you cards, and, you know, all of those post-wedding, we were gone for pretty much 2.5 weeks. So just kind of getting everything back in order. But anyway, I have a lot of stitching to show, and I am super excited about it. But first I'm gonna do some FFOs because I have those and I never have those. Not only do I have FFOs to show this time, I actually have a little bit of everything to show, which is unusual for me. So, but I'm gonna start with the FFOs. They're actually wedding related. So, you've technically have seen these cross stitches before. One of them only in an Instagram story, so now I get to officially debut it on YouTube, and the other one was you haven't seen since my very first FlossTube over a year ago. So what I did, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. So my first quarantine start over a year ago, I fell in love with Stitch Rovia's Aloha. And it's tropical, it's colorful, it was a lot of fun. I absolutely enjoyed doing it. And I was trying to figure out the best way to FFO it. And I, at the same time, David and I were beginning like planning the wedding and figuring out what we wanted and all these things. And I knew we were gonna need like a welcome sign of some sort, you know, for either the ceremony or the reception or something. We were gonna need a welcome sign. And I was like, our wedding was mostly sponsored by Tommy Bahama and Etsy. So I found all these wonderful ones on Etsy, and David was like, yeah, they're nice, but there's nothing like unique about them. They're very like, you know, he just wasn't impressed by them and he wanted something a little bit more. So I had this cross stitch and I was like, well, Aloha means welcome. So why don't we somehow incorporate this? And he loved that. And then my uncle is an artist. He does, he does a lot of different things, but one of the things he does is he does sign painting. So, I assume he still does it some, but you know, before you would literally go up and like paint a sign before you would have the print of it. So he, painter is mostly what he does. And then my dad is a graphic designer. And so we kind of put together, and he does woodworking. He does a lot of different like other hobby crafts that he does, a lot of woodworking and just like wood burning, and he's kind of forayed in a lot of different things, you know, handiwork kind of things. So we had this idea of making a welcome sign using my cross stitch piece, and then I originally wanted it to say like welcome underneath it. Dave was like, well, that doesn't make sense because it says Aloha. I'm like, yeah, but it's a welcome sign, so what do we put? And he's like, well, maybe we want this in our house, you know, we could then repurpose this in our house. So we put the Axfords underneath it. And I was like, okay. So we had my uncle paint the Axfords, and then we wanted the date on it, and just essentially like Dad kind of took it over and made it happen. That's essentially what happened. So Barbara at Keepsakes helped finish the actual Aloha piece, and then Dad kind of made it happen. So this is what it turned into. So I'm gonna try and get this whole thing in it. So this was the welcome sign, and I'll pop a photo in of what it looked like at the wedding. But this was our welcome sign. So we had Aloha. So this is the cross stitch piece that I did, that Barbara then finished with the batik and the yarn. And then yes, then my uncle painted the Axfords. And then my uncle and my dad both did made a stencil and spray painted our date on it. And then the wood, my uncle actually already had the wood. He had like big pieces of it. It's like this, I don't exactly remember what kind of wood it is, but he already had it. And then my dad cut it and, you know, put it together to the size that we wanted. And so Dad then put this together and painted it. And so it's amazing. I mean, we absolutely fell in love with it. It was perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. So yeah, so now this will hang in our house somewhere. It's probably gonna go on the blue wall because it says welcome and the Axfords. So it's, makes sense for when people walk into the house, they see welcome. So yes, I absolutely love this. This is my first FFO. And then yeah, so you'll have seen where we started out having it. So it didn't make sense to have it at the beginning of the ceremony, like as you're walking in. One, it was on an open beach, so there wasn't like one entrance point for people to pass. And also, as my mom pointed out, we weren't the Axfords yet. That would be the end of the ceremony, but not at the beginning. So what we did, we actually had it first at the cocktail hour, which was, and again, I'll go into this more, but like we were at Islander Resort in Islamorada, and our venue site was technically like 3 separate sites, but you kind of transitioned it into one. So there was like a building, and they had this like terrace, this like they called it pavers, but essentially like this like tile outdoor patio, and then this huge lawn, and then palm trees, like this cove of palm trees that separated the great lawn from then the open beach. And then there was this huge beach that came to a point. It was kind of like the end, like the edge of the resort, and then it was just open water. So we had this like staging. You started out at the beach. That's where the ceremony was. Cocktail hour was at the underneath the palm trees. And then you would then transition back, and we had our reception on the pavers with a tent over it. And the building was like their conference room, had a ballroom, like this discovery center, and that's like where the bathrooms were, and like the staging area, we used the ballroom as like the staging area. So it was kind of nice transition. So we started down at the palm trees in the cocktail hour, which is what you saw in the picture. And then when cocktail hour was over, they rescued it from the storm quickly, and it became part of and then it went on the welcome table, like the reception table that had like the guest book and the favors and pictures and stuff like that. So and then the one on that table. So anyway, so it kind of had multiple uses throughout the night. The other FFO I have, so one thing that David and I did, and I've seen this done in other weddings too, but we each gave each other a wedding gift. So I've heard it I shouldn't say traditionally, because I don't know how traditional it is, but the way I've always heard it done was, you sleep separately the night before, and then you're getting ready. You don't talk, you don't interact unless you're doing like a first look, which we did not do. But we, typically you don't interact with your future husband or wife or whatever, until you're actually, at the ceremony. So normally during that time, you would have someone kind of like exchange gifts or exchange a card, or like just some kind of like can't wait to marry you in a few hours, kind of sentiment, a private moment. Essentially, it's supposed to be like a intimate private moment before. Well, David got my gift at one point, or it was a few weeks before the ceremony. He came home, he got the gift, and he's like, so when are we doing this again? And I told him, and he was like, I'm like, what? And he was like, I really think you're gonna want us to be married before I give you this gift. I'm like, okay. No idea what that means, but okay. So we changed it to, we did the gifts right after pictures. It was supposed to, I guess it was technically during pictures, but originally we were gonna do it like out on the beach or something, and then the storm hit. So it was the pictures we finished like the official pictures, but we had to run in before we could do the gift exchange pictures. So we did that inside, which she was there and she got pictures of it. But yeah, so his gift to me was, he got me a string of pearls, and then actually these earrings, they're jackets that can hold different studs. And so these, he got me pearl studs for now with this like diamond jacket. And I'll show them up close in the wedding video. But, and then what I got him was, and I finished this a while ago, so you may or may not have seen it on my story. But I had seen this cross stitch pattern a long time ago, and Always loved it and always wanted it to do it for him, but couldn't quite figure out what the right time for that would be. And then we got engaged. I was like, haha, there's the right time. So I did the hands-on design. It was always you. And so I did everything called for except the color for the initials. I did in Islamorada, weak style work, because I felt like that was appropriate. And then I also backstitched. It might be hard to see. Maybe I backstitched the date. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get that to focus. But yeah, so I backstitched the date, and it's really, I mean, you kind of have to look at it hard. It's not super obvious, but it doesn't need to be super obvious. And then the only other change I made is I also put gold beads in all of the corners. I don't know, just I had so many extra, and I was like, why not add a little few here? But this was super fun to do. It was super fast to do. And I did make one other change. I actually added an extra space between the bottom line and the Y. My dad, the graphic designer, thought that it would look a little bit better if I had just a smidge more space, so I did. And then I sent it off to Barbara, and she finished it into a flat fold for me, and just the fabric she chose is just perfect. I mean, it has all of the colors. I mean, she just did a perfect job. So yeah, so this now sits on his desk, and he loves it because he said he can take it anywhere in the world with him. And I was like, well, it's a good thing I can recreate it if anything happens anywhere in the world that you may take this. When he told me that, I was like, yeah, that's true, you can. And if you want to, it's your gift. Thankfully, I can recreate this if I have to. But yeah, so that's my other FFO. This is done on a 28 count Picture This Plus, but it was actually a mystery color. When I bought it, it didn't have a color on it. I don't know if it wasn't known or if it was a limited edition thing. I'm not sure, but it's a really nice color. I wish I could find more of it. And then the Aloha was on 32 count flax, which is one of my favorite neutrals. I love flax. It kind of looks like the oatmeal Ada. It kind of has those like speckles in it. And that was completely called for. I don't think I changed anything in that. No, I don't really mess with Stitcherovia stuff. She's a genius. I might occasionally change a color if it's not one either. Even then, I really don't change her stuff much. She's such a genius. There are some patterns that I really love of hers that I don't like the color palette. Like, it doesn't match any of my decor. So if I ever did that, I would potentially change the colors, but I would try to match it like really close. Like, I would try to do like the different shades that she did. So anyway, so those are my two FFOs. And then I have two finishes, which I am so excited. One you're not gonna be surprised about. The other one, maybe. So I'm gonna do this other one first because it happened first. On the drive down to the Keys, I needed a project. So I kind of went through my WIPs, and I kind of did this anyways. I was trying to figure out what am I even gonna bring on the trip? Like, what cross stitch patterns projects am I gonna bring? And I struggled because I'm like, I had to kind of gauge this, like, what do I want to work on and what am I realistically going to work on? It was kind of trying to find. So essentially what it came down to, I pretty much brought anything that was beach related, which surprisingly, I only have like 4 or 5 projects that are beach related. Well, 4 WIPs and then 1 kitted thing that's beach related that I was potentially going to start. So I have a lot more kits that are beach related, but not that I have like a urgency to start, I guess. So I was trying to be picky with the kits because I'm like, I'm not going to start 1,000 things. So like, what's the one thing I would start? So I brought one, and then all of my WIPs that are beach related. And then on the trip down, I was like, okay, what WIP do I want to work on? I was like, well, which one's closest to being finished? And I chose this one. So I have officially, and I finished this on the trip down to the Keys, or I guess technically Miami and then Islamorada. But I finished Smooth Sea by, I guess, Emma Collington / Stitcherovia. This is from her cross stitch for the Soul book. that you can get on Amazon. I'll link it below. The book is amazing. All of the patterns are awesome. And she technically says Emma Congdon on that book. She doesn't say Stitchrovia, so. But yeah, and it actually doesn't have a name. All of her designs in that name are like design 1, design 2, design 3. So I named it Smooth Sea, personally. And this was part of a SAL, Smooth Sea SAL, with Crafts Makeup Food Caroline. I'll link her below. And then Honeybee Stitcher Morgan joined us as well. So I'm gonna give you a close-up. I absolutely love stitching this. It went a lot faster than I thought it would. Honestly, the part that took the longest was that never made A, all of that fill in, but I did that first, and so the rest of it went pretty quick. I absolutely love it. I did make one change, only one, and in the lighthouse, the windows are called for to be like the dark blue, like black, and I made them yellow to make it look like the lighthouse is on. I know that's like the stairwell and that wouldn't necessarily have lights or whatever, but I like it. It makes it a little bit brighter. So, and then I did sign it. Actually, it's kind of cool. This is my last cross stitch piece that has MR as the signature. See if it'll focus. So my last MR signature piece. But yeah, that's where we're at. I have no idea how I'm gonna finish it. I'm probably gonna frame it. It fits in a 8x10 frame, unless something else strikes me. But yeah, I'm so happy to have it done. David's happy to have it done too. It's essentially for David. It was inspired by David. So, Smooth Sea never made a skillful sailor. I hope he encounters smooth seas personally now as his wife. But this is stitched on 40 count flax. And again, I love flax. Okay, and then my other finished piece, and this is the one you're probably not going to be surprised about. Actually, I finished that on the way to Miami. So I finished that before we got there on Wednesday. And then on the way down to Islamorada on the way down to Cudjoe from Islamorada, it's about an 1.5-hour drive. The keys are long. I feel like that might be a potential misconception. From Miami to Key West is between 4 and 5 hours. So once you hit Key Largo, you're not there yet. You have quite a bit. So we had a little bit of time to kill, because we left the brunch at noon, but we couldn't check in till 4, and it only took an 1.5 hours. We knew we needed to stop at like Publix and get food for the week, but we kind of like moseyed about. We stopped at the brewery again, and, moseyed around the Worldwide Sportsman, the big Bass Pro Shop down there. But during the traveling, I had a project that I could now officially finish, and I did, and this is the Axford wedding sampler that I partially designed. So if this is your first time or you missed my last few episodes, this is a combination of 2 patterns. So on Etsy, Vlada X Stitch, I will link the patterns below. She has this Florida and then this hibiscus. Now that hibiscus is normally the same size as this Florida, but I stitched it because I wanted it together. I stitched it over 1. Let me try and get it to focus. So that entire hibiscus is completely stitched over 1, which I actually kind of enjoyed. It went really fast, because they're such small stitches. It went pretty quick. I really didn't have much trouble with it slipping. There were a couple times and I just restitched the stitch. I didn't worry about it too much. But yeah, and so I did make a few changes to her Florida pattern. Her Florida pattern is completely called for in DMC, which would be great, which would be gorgeous, but I wanted to do it in, let me hold it back some. Yeah, that's better for the fabric. In Fancy Floss overdyes. So I did it in, so the sky and the clouds are actually not normally called for because it's called for on a white fabric. So those aren't filled in. So I filled them in since I was on a blue fabric. And it's a combination of a lot of different flosses. I will, this time I will link my conversion down below, or write it out so you can see it. It's quite a bit, and if you don't care about it, I don't want to bore you. So I'll just list it down below that you can read it. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always reach out to me. I've already sent it to a few people. But yeah, and then I did the water, the bar, the trunks, the sand, the water, and the sky in overdyed. So really it was just the trees and then the really light color. So this, like the wave color, that's still DMC. And then I designed the middle part, the Axfords, the date, and the location. I got a little bit of silver Kreinik in there because that was our accent color. We did silver. Our colors were navy blue and then like aquamarine, turquoise. And then I again did Islamorada, Florida, and Weeks Dye Works Islamorada. Again, that made sense. So that's where we're at. And this is on 32 count Malibu from Color and Cotton. Color and Cotton is officially my favorite. I mean, Color and Cotton is my favorite floss. Color and Cotton is my favorite fabric. I'm all about Color and Cotton. I love others. I don't not love others, but Color and Cotton is pretty much my go-to at this point, if it makes sense. So yeah, and then the hibiscus is completely called for. I didn't change anything on the hibiscus. And that's all DMC. So yeah, so this is where we're at. I absolutely love it. It was kind of funny. I was joking with my mom. I was like, I don't have to sign this one because it's signed and dated. I didn't technically finish it on June 26th, but whatever. I finished it like on June 20. Oh, I finished it on June 27th, so close enough. And it has my last name on it. It's clear who did it. It wasn't David. So it's kind of funny. So yeah, so that's the Oxford sampler. Again, this will fit in an 8x10 frame, so I might frame it or might find some other creative way. I don't know. So yeah, so those are my two finishes. I only have one whip. And so I finished Oxford sampler. And I guess this isn't technically a beach whip, but it was beach colors. So that kind of went into my decision as well. I was going through the whips that I brought, and then I was like, I've been wanting to get back to this one for a while now. I've really enjoyed it. It's been called on my WIPGO board. Like I really want to get back to it. So on that Monday, no, we were in Key West all day Monday. That Tuesday, I pulled this back out. Tuesday was our chill day. So we were supposed to go do some fly fishing charters with a man who we did it with last time we were in the Keys. I absolutely love him, Dale. If you're wanting to do fly fishing in the Keys, contact Dale Bishop. He's amazing. And so we originally had scheduled Tuesday and Thursday with him, but the weather just wasn't right Tuesday or Wednesday. So he pushed us to Thursday and Friday for fly fishing. The visibility wasn't right, the wind wasn't right, all the things that go in to determine if it's a good day for fishing. So Tuesday suddenly became, and that was Tuesday morning. We were kind of hesitant about it on Monday. Like he was kind of like, we'll see, let's plan to go out, at like 7. And, so we'd gotten up at like 6 and he called Dave and he was like, sorry, dude, it's just the wind, it's just not right. So we suddenly had a free day. So we kind of hung out and enjoyed the resort that we were at, but then also just chilled at our Airbnb and enjoyed the Airbnb that we were paying for. So I got stitching time, which is great. Put some baseball on and had fun. So I've been wanting to get back to this one for a while. And so I pulled it back out, and it is Patchwork Quaker by Stickadine von der Weichenberg. I hope I got closer that time. I don't have a before picture of this because I worked on it since my last before picture and I didn't take a picture of it that time. So I don't have a before picture, but I absolutely love this. I'm also doing this as a SAL with Shiloh at X-Stitch MD. And I think a couple of other people have joined in on it. Absolutely, this was a Mania start last year. And it's just so much fun. The colors are incredible, and it just, you get these little mini finishes. Every time you finish a motif, you're just like, okay, got that one. And then you get to move to a new color and a new space and just kind of watch it fill in. So last time I worked on it, I had officially finished the first 2 pages. So and it's 6 pages total. So I essentially had a third of it done. And the pages are weird. Pages cut off because it like just goes across. So it cuts off motifs. So the first 2 pages go along here. So I completely finished up here, but then I had come down and finished this motif. So this was done along with all of this up here. So when I came back down, I started here and then I just went all the way across. So this is on 40 count platinum, which is one of my other favorite neutrals. And oh my gosh, guys, I am so excited with this progress. So this is what I did anytime I had time on the honeymoon, like traveling to and from Key West, traveling to and from Islamorada, because we traveled around, we didn't just stay on Cudjoe the whole time. Whenever we were traveling around, I worked out in the car, and then this is what I worked on for the entire 15-hour drive back to Atlanta, and then the 2.5-hour drive to Auburn the next day, and what I've worked on since. So it's a lot of progress, but there's also been a lot of time put into it. So, and here's where we're at. I essentially finished 2 more pages. So I am pretty much 2/3 of the way done. And I am just in love. So let me bring you close up. So I did all that. I can no longer see, so I'm just assuming it's, yeah. So you can kind of see where we're at. It is just so much fun to stitch. I don't have it in Pattern Keeper. I'm using the paper chart. It didn't really work well with Pattern Keeper because it is landscape. Well, some of the pattern's landscape, and then like the first pages and the last pages are portrait. So Pattern Keeper kind of had a hissy fit with that. They didn't like that, and I just honestly haven't put the effort into fixing it to try and make it work because the paper pattern's working for me, highlighter and whatnot. So it works. And it's one less thing. It was actually nice in the car to have it in paper because I could just keep it on the chart or on here, and I could just keep looking up at it. So it worked out. So I don't actually know how far technically I am. But I'm on, this is page 5. This started page 5. There's one more motif down here. And then over here, I did technically finish, I shouldn't say technically, I didn't technically finish page 4. But there's a motif right here. It's half and half. It's half on page 4 and it's half on page 6. And I was like, well, I don't want to start it on page 4 if I'm not on. So I'm going to wait till I get to page 6 and then just do the whole chart or do the whole motif. It's really big, so I wasn't really feeling it, It's like, I'll get to that when I feel like it. But yeah, that's where we're at. This is my next focus on a finish. I want to have this done so badly. It's just so much fun. So just so you can see it on the chart what I'm talking about. Here, this motif. So literally half of it is on page 4 and half of it's on page 6. Page 5 is pretty heavy in the stitching. This is, so like up here was kind of sparse and like this took forever and this took forever. But other than that, there's a lot, just like little ones, a lot of little ones up here. This is pretty heavy. So, but I'm just gonna keep working away at it. I really love it. It's not gonna be like, I'm not gonna go monogamous on it or anything, but when I don't know what I want to work on, I'm gonna work on this and try. I want to try and get done by the end of the year, potentially. If not, no, that's not realistic. I would like to have it done by its next birthday, which is May 5th or something. I want to have it done by next May. Is my actual goal. So yeah, so that was my one WIP, but that's not all. I also have 2 new starts for you. So this one I started actually at the end of May, I think. It was one of those like on a whim starts. I had everything and I wanted to go. Jan Hicks has a FlossTube, and she also is a designer. Jan Hicks Creates. And she's, I don't know, I do not know when this came out. It came out a few months ago. But it was supposed to just be a one-off, and then she has now turned it into a series, thank God. But it's called Seasons in Lace. And I'll post a picture up here because I only have the PDF version. It just hit all of the right things for me. It's the most gorgeous blues. It's lace, which I am about lace. It had all the right things for me. So I was like, okay, I love it. I bought it. I kitted it up. Well, I already had the floss for it. But I wasn't ready to start or anything. I didn't know what fabric. I was like, eh. And then she really said that she was going to be doing it as a series, a seasonal series. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. So she, May, she released, spring. And she did it all in like pinks and reds, and it's gorgeous. She's using like a floss pack that she's getting from Floss of the Month from, I think Fat Quarter Shop. I'm doing the DMC conversion for them. She's used, I think it's a silk pack, and I'm not ready to go down that rabbit hole yet. So, I'm doing the DMC conversion, and they are huge. I mean, it's a big pattern. She released what the final size was going to be because she's keeping all 4 of them the same size. And she released what the full size was going to be. And it is, I mean, it's large, it's gorgeous, and it's very detailed, and there's a lot going on. And because of that, it's quite big. So I was like, okay, what do I want to do it on that, is reasonable? And 40 count still made it pretty big. Like it was still going to be a pretty big piece on 40 count. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, that works. And I love 40 count. But then I was like, why don't we try something new? And so I looked up, like, what about 46 count? And I could not find online. Okay. I was trying to figure out the right color for this, right? Because I don't know what summer and what fall. Well, I don't know what color palette she's going to use. Well, she's now released that summer is going to be greens, and that's coming out. She said maybe August, September, this fall, early fall, late summer. She's releasing summer, and she said greens. But I had already started this by the time she said that. And we don't know what fall is going to be. So I was like, I feel like it should stay a pretty neutral color fabric, like white, but I don't want white, because that's a recipe for disaster for me. So I was like, but I don't really want, I don't know. I really struggle because it's lace and it's colored on lace. So anyway, I decided, I went down a lot of rabbit holes. I was on a study break, and I just kind of popped around, and I decided on going with 56 count antique white. And I've never done 56 count, so I was kind of excited about the challenge of doing something really small. And I was like, I am still blessed with eyesight that can handle that. So why not just like go for it? Let's give it a shot. So I ordered 56 count antique white from Fire Poppies in South Carolina, which they are amazing. They literally shipped it out that day. I had it 2 days later, and that was partly what prompted me to start this. So I had all the floss. I now have the fabric. It works beautifully in Pattern Keeper, thank God. And I love Jan Hicks just in general. So I was really excited to start this. So on a whim, I think it was Memorial Day, like that night, I was like, why not? I needed a study break, and so I did. So I started Seasons in Lace Winter, and here's my start. I worked on it a couple times since then. I didn't do this all that night. I can't see it. But yeah, here it is. It is gorgeous. I'm already so in love with it. As you can tell, I have not gotten very far on it, but I am so in love. Let me fold it this way so I can actually, yeah. The colors are just, so good. So good. The DMC conversion is perfect. I love it. And just to give you an idea, This fabric is not, I think it'll have a 3-inch border all the way around, but it's pretty much gonna use almost that entire fabric for all 4 seasons, not just winter, for all 4 to go together. I started in the middle. And that what's really cool is what she's doing is that center motif. So what this is the center of, that center motif is repeated all the way around in the different colors. So that will continue to be the same, just in the different colors. And then what's happening off of that, she changes per season. So I am so excited. I'm excited for her to release summer. But obviously I will not be caught up by summer, so I am not that concerned. And I don't know, if you're interested in starting this or have started it, you know, I'd love to see what you're doing with it too, how people are tackling it, what different fabrics you're using, because it's a gorgeous piece and I feel like you could just do so much with it. So let me know if you've started it, if you have an Instagram. I don't know if we want to somewhat sell it. I don't know if there's enough interest for a sal, but just kind of let me know, because I will definitely be working on this here and there until, you know, it's a whip that I'm keeping kind of in the forefront of my mind. So very happy with it. This other start was a honeymoon start. So I wanted something that I knew I wanted to start something on the honeymoon to kind of commemorate it, and you know, so that when I'm working on it, I remember like, oh, this was the start of my honeymoon, you know, like kind of a sentimental thing. So I was flipping through my kits, and I came across this. It was a gift from a subscriber who I am still very appreciative of, and I'd wanted it for a really long time, and then she sent it in a box last summer with a bunch of other different things, but this was one of the things in there, and I like screamed. I was so happy to see it. And it kind of went through different iterations of fabrics because I didn't like the kit fabric. But I had to kind of try different couple things to get the right fabric. But I started my very first Dimensions kit, beach chairs. And I've always loved this. I've seen it at Hobby Lobby and, you know, Michael's 1,000 times, and I just love it. It's very symbolic of a lot of different things in my life. And I was very happy to start it. The fabric is 32 count touch of blue. I just got it from like 1-2-3 Stitch, and it is stiff. It could stand on its own if I wanted it to. But it's the same color as the kit fabric was. So it's right. It's just gonna be interesting to work on. I have to keep tightening my Q-snap, you know, and try and keep it tight. And I'll show you my start. So I started in the center, and I'm going to the green chair. So center to green. And this is as far as I got. I did, oh, it's gonna be one of those. It's very hard to see because I started with the light blue and then started in the green. This was only one night of stitching, or like not even a whole night. I just did a couple strands because, and this is a wonderful gift from Lenny, the needle minder. I actually have a call out to you all to help me. This is my very first Dimensions kit. How do you tackle a Dimensions kit? The floss is difficult to, like the strands, the way it comes here. You know what, I'll just show you. I don't know how to handle this floss. And then the symbols and like everything, like how do people tackle this and organize it? It comes in these like very, very long strands. And I know you cut them, but it's very tangled. But then when I take it out of here, like the green, the blue, when I take it out of here and get what I need, I mean, is this just how you put it back on and just like leave it like that? I mean, I did put the symbols above. I did think to do that because I was getting frustrated. But like, what else? How else do you go about this? Because there's 2 of these and they get very tangled. And yes, help a Dimensions newbie. Or if there is a video out there you recommend on how to organize this, I would very much appreciate it. And like even the charts, like I'm just gonna flash it. It's like hard to read. Like I'm new at this and I need some help. I'm amazed this is my first dimensions kit, but I love it and I'm definitely going to work on it in some shape or fashion. But if you could help make it a little bit easier, that would be awesome. Because it's not gonna take this entire fabric, but I think I'm really gonna love it. It's just, do you just have any advice for me on how to make it not so torturous? That would be great. Oh, and then with that was my last cross stitch thing. So yeah, so I started the seasons in lace winter. And that's my last project. So I mean, this is almost 2 months worth of stitching, and I had quite a bit of car time in between. And you know, I finished school on June 17th. So I've had, and then of course the week we've been here, you know, I've had a good bit of time. So my plans are, I'm going to keep working on Patchwork Quaker. I do have a secret gift that I need to work on and finish and send out. I just started that yesterday. I don't want to show it because I don't want to potentially give anything away. Of course, you'll see it at some point, but I did start that yesterday, and that's my number one priority because I do want to get that out really soon, if possible. So I guess that's my next focus. And then, but Patchwork Quaker is going to be my focus here and there. And then other than that, I don't know. I'm not doing Christmas in July. I'm doing WIPGO, but I'm still pretty seasonal with it. So I'm not ready to give up the beach yet. And the summer colors that I love. So still going to be working on those things. And yeah, that's kind of my main plans. Kind of see where I do start my next block next Wednesday. And with that, I also start studying for round 1 of boards. So, it's not just classes anymore. I get to start my first boards. I not everyone knows what that is. That is like the official licensing standardized exams that you take 3 rounds of them during medical school. So you take step 1 / complex 1 if you're in DO school like me. And after your 2nd year, you take step 2, complex 2 after your 3rd year, which is what David just took. And then after you graduate, you take step 3 complex 3, and that like is your official licensure. And then you're licensed to, if you've graduated from school and you've passed all 3 rounds of boards, then you are officially licensed to practice medicine. So, and then you take them, it depends on the specialty, but you take them the rest of your life to kind of keep up your licensure. So I know there's some specialties like you take it every 10 years, some you take every 5 years, like it just depends. And it's just to make sure that you're staying up to date on current practices and current guidelines. So it is standardized. So it's like the MCAT for med school is how one of my friends put it, but it continues. This year for me, it is this current year, and then my class are the first rounds of, it's now pass fail for step 1. Doesn't make it any easier though. So pretty much my wedding planning time in the evenings is now going to be studying for boards. So yeah, so it's gonna be a fun adventure, and I will definitely need more and more study breaks now. So hopefully some cross stitch can still squeeze in, since I don't have wedding planning now to do that with. David will be gone for training, and then he also is doing some audition rotations. So it's going to be, the rest of this year, next year are going to be very interesting, and just day by day is really what it comes down to. But I do have a little bit of haul and some stitchy kindness, and then that's kind of it. My May and June fabrics both came in for my, I'm in the Fabric of the Month Club with Color and Cotton. And so May was kiwi. And so this is the 40 count it's getting a little washed out. It's much richer than that. I mean, it's a lighter version of Kermit almost. It's getting pretty washed out. But, and then that's the 32 count. They're almost the same this time. Normally there's a little bit of a variant between 32 and 40, but they're pretty much the same this month. And then June is called Old West. And it's this like sand duney neutral. It's a little bit orangier than that. I mean, it really does remind me of like the Old West, like what you would think, like the dust and the sand out in the, and then this is the 32 count. There is a difference with this one. It's a little bit darker with the 32 count. But yeah, but super happy with those. No idea what I'll do on them, but very happy to have them. And then I got in the mail a few days ago some stitchy kindness from Barbara at Keepsakes, the owner of Keepsakes. She sent me this really sweet card, and she said, I hope that this fabric reminds you of the waters of the Keys. And it certainly does. Oh my God. Ugh, it's just gorgeous. It looks like a batik sewing fabric as cross stitch fabric. It is just absolutely magnificent. It's deep, and it really does look like the water of the Keys, because you have, especially when the clarity is really, really good and the visibility, you look out and there are different colors in the water, because there's coral, there's seaweed, you see the patches of things, and so you look out and there's the light blue, and then there's patches of dark, you know, and it's absolutely perfect. I love it so much. So thank you so much, Barbara. I don't know what the fabric is. It's a 40 count, and then for color she put SCS. So I'm not quite sure, but it is gorgeous. So very, very grateful for that as well. And that's kind of it, friends. So I don't know when I'll be back, probably August if I can, depending on the fabric or the projects that I have. I will be doing a wedding video, but I'm gonna give a caveat. So I will be filming it within like the next few days, because we still have a bunch of the stuff out and still putting it all away. So I have easy access to a lot, but I did a poll a couple days ago and asked, like, what do you want to see? You know, what do you want me to talk about? And there was two main answers. One was everything, which I will do as much as possible. And then the other one was everyone wants to see photos and, you know, and see everything. I'm not going to have those photos for probably another 3 weeks. Our photographer gave us a 4 to 6 week turnaround time for the photographs. And a lot of the things that I want to talk about, she took the best photos of. You know, I have those 5 sneak photos, which I already shared on my Instagram. Those are the only 5 we got. And then a couple that like friends have taken on their phones. Friends and family were taking photos on their phones. And I will share some of those in that video, but I don't have like any of the professional photos. And I won't for a while. So I'm gonna go ahead and film it. And so that I have it ready to go. And then the second that I have those photos, you know, I can edit those in quickly and then upload the video. So you probably won't see that video probably until mid-August, late August, just depends on when she gets them to us. I'm hoping it's faster than she says, but she is one of the top photographers in Islamorada. Like, she literally has 4 or 5 weddings a week. So, especially right now during hot wedding season. So, you know, I hope it goes quickly, but I also don't want her to rush it. So, you know, I hope she takes, you know, the time that she needs to get those done. We also had videographers there, and they took, we'll be getting 3 different videos from them. They do like the 3 rounds of like a 1 minute trailer, a 1 minute teaser, a 3 to 8 minute trailer, and then like the 10 to 20 minute full video. And so, you know, I'll try and find a way to maybe share those with you guys too, if possible. Maybe like do the like splice them together into a video and share that. We'll see. I don't know what my sharing allowances are on that. I'll have to look at the fine print. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. I promise to get that out. I want to talk about it. I want to relive it, and I will, and then share it with you the second I can with all the photos that you want to see. If you have any questions in the meantime, like if you have an immediate question, always happy to talk about it. You can email me at georgiagirlstitching@gmail.com, or you can message me on Instagram. I'll answer pretty much anything, and I'll try and help you if you have a question, like you're planning something and need help with something. Etsy is my #1 recommendation. Etsy made life so much easier, and I was able to help, local artists and non-local artists, but just, people that, Etsy was our main go-to. And then also Tommy Bahama was very much, I'll talk about that, but all the men's suits were Tommy Bahama. So I'll go into that, but if you have anything in the meantime, please feel free to reach out. Also, giveaways. I have heard from all but one. So I think it's, Janice Davis, you won the Liberty Lane pillow from my last 2 videos. I've commented on your comment, but please email me at georgiagirlstitching@gmail.com with your address. If I don't hear from you by the next video, I'm going to redo the giveaway and give it to someone else. So please reach out to me with that address. My goal to get these other 7 out is before I start class next Wednesday. So I'm working on it. I've gotten all of your emails. Thank you so much for getting back to me on that, and I promise to get it out as soon as I can. I'm hoping to take it when I take to get all the thank you cards, shipped out. So that's the goal. And yeah. I do also want to say thank you to those right after my last video. I had quite a few people buy me a coffee on the Buy Me a Coffee website, and I very, very much appreciate that. And I really do want to thank you so much for that. It really helped me get through those last few weeks of school. And if you're interested in what that is, I will link it down below. It's just if you feel like, contributing towards the coffee habits of a medical student, or that does, actually some of that Buy Me a Coffee is going to go towards these giveaway postages as well. But yeah, that's all down below. It's completely voluntary. I did have a couple of people quite a few people ask for my autumn harvest conversion, and I think I got everyone answered. If I have not answered you, please re-email me so I can get you that PDF. I'm so sorry if I missed your email. Lots been going on over the last few months. So if you email me and didn't get a response, please email me again, and I promise to get it out to you as fast as possible. But yeah, so I had a couple people contribute towards that after getting that too. So thank you to those who did that. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's officially it. I think that's enough rambling for now. Thank you all so much for your constant love and support. I got so many congratulations and best wishes and so many sweet comments when I shared the wedding stuff. And I read all of them, and I very, very much appreciate it. And I feel your love and support. And I'm always here to support you if you ever need anything as well. I'm just an Instagram direct message away. I'll be back soon, and in the meantime, have a great week and weekend, and happy stitching, everyone. Bye.